Here we go. We're back.
Back
Mark,
again.
good to see you, my friend.
You too, brother. How you
How are
doing?
you feeling?
I'm
How was your
well.
week?
Busy. Is all I can say is very, very busy. What about you?
Busy? Yeah, I'm the same as you, brother. Feeling good though. A little bit of we were talking about off air just a minute ago with thing a little bit sniffly, a little bit of bit of it throaty as well, a little bit run down. But then again, I haven't had anything for a year, maybe a year and a half. So that's pretty good going.
It's very good
I
going.
got sadly hit with COVID on my 30th birthday last July. It felt like I got hit
Oh yeah, that
literally
wipes
by
you
a
out,
truck.
doesn't it?
But 2 days bounced back. Ran that COVID protocol that we put together. And hey, back in the gym on Monday. Happened the Friday. There you go. Says everything you need when it comes to trusting your body, giving the right tools, get ready to thrive. Boom. But yeah, busy week. Being a little bit run down, which, it hasn't put a damper on the week. We've still got stuff done, but it can slow you down
Mm.
for sure, can't
But
it?
that's not a bad thing. So, you know, to get woo very instantly, we're still in the grips of a Mercury retrograde. And a retrograde has RE at the front. And Mercury retrograde is about slowing down. It's rest, recharge, renew, restore, rebalance. It's all re's. And it's all about that slowdown. So it's the universe basically pulling a handbrake saying, right, you need to slow down more. And you've got to think again from a circadian perspective where we are in the UK anyway, in the Northern Hemisphere, where we are seasonally, we are in winter. This is the time where most animals are either hibernating or they're not out as much. We've got a very, very short window of light. Sunrise is like 7:45 and
Mm.
sunsets like 10 to 4. So we've got like this much window of light, which means we've got this amount of what would feel like eternal darkness. Well, that's good because darkness tells the pineal to release melatonin, and it's that resting time. So that illness side of things is basically your body saying, pull back, take your foot off the gas, because at the moment your foot's on the brake and the accelerator at the same time, and all you're doing is just revving the engine and it's causing problems. So as I said to you off air, I never get sick ever, like illness wise. Like I never get like colds, flus, and all that stuff. I never get them. But last Monday, I could just feel it in the back of my throat. I was like, okay. So I did my quick protocol to fix that. So I'm going to tell everybody here what I told you.
Let's go.
Number one, please make sure you prioritize sleep, not rest. Sleep. There's a difference between being in bed and there's a difference between chilling on the sofa and actual quality sleep. Darkness at night, making sure you're getting a good 2 hours of darkness before you go to bed, but making sure you're getting, if you're in bed for 8 hours, you're probably getting about 7 hours of sleep. So you want to be in bed for 9 hours and get about 8. The more sleep you get, the more the body's going to regenerate. Quicker it's going to regenerate. So that's number one. Prioritize sleep, prioritize that recovery, that rest, that recharge, that rebalance. Number two, always make sure you've got clove, the essential oil. The essential oil clove is an analgesic. It will numb pain, and it has a little bit of antiviral properties as well, which is why it's used for toothache, or pain in the mouth in general, ulcers, that kind of thing. Tumble a glass of water, like that much water, 3 drops of clove because it's very strong. I would also add colloidal silver in there, more like a 2-to-1 for colloidal silver to the clove, because colloidal silver is antibacterial, antiparasitic, antiviral, and it stops the proliferation, the growth of pathogens and bacteria. In the same glass, swirl it up, gargle it. Doesn't matter if you swallow a little bit of it, it won't hurt you at all. As long as you're not swallowing a ton of essential oil, you'll be fine. It will numb the throat out, and the colloidal silver will clear anything out that's in the throat. Do that 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening before bed. Nasal strips before you go to bed, so that way then it opens up the airway so you can breathe. I would suggest something I forgot to mention to you. There's a company called, what are they called? I forgot what they're called, but they sell a nasal spray. It's fully natural. It's made from sea minerals, basically, and seawater. And then they add copper into the mix. And then you squirt one side up the nose, let it drip back and down into the throat, other side. And then literally, as disgusting as it is, sniff up and pull everything into the back of the throat and spit it out. Blow the nose. The copper is going to burn a lot, but copper is so strongly linked to immunity. So it's important that you do that. And then the other thing, if you can get a colloidal silver spray, you can always take the top off if you want to add it to the water, but spray up the nose afterwards. And then that side, that's going to kill all the bacteria that's there. And then mullein tea, organic loose leaf mullein, MULLIEN tea.
Yeah.
2 cups a day, no more than that. It's what's known as an expectorant. If there's anything that's going to start congesting, it will alleviate that from the lungs and from the chest, and you'll start bringing it up, and it will start helping with the cough as well. Do that for 48 hours. Gone, completely gone, all natural, and you won't feel sick if you catch it at the right time. You won't feel sick. You won't feel anything at all. Where if you catch it a little bit delayed, you will start to get a little bit of symptomology, but it means you haven't got to go on these awful cold and flu crappy things that you get from the chemist and whatnot. Much better natural way of fixing it, and it will actually heal you. It will actually get rid of everything, because mine was gone within 24 hours. Like, I had no issues at all. So that's what I would recommend 100%. So clove of silver, mullein tea, serum, I think it's Ceramar, something like that, that do the nasal spray. You can get it from the chemist, you can get it from Waitrose, you can get it from Amazon. It's in a clear bottle, well, I say clear bottle, a white bottle with like a sea wave like thingy on it. And they do like a normal one, and then they do a congestion one. Get the congestion one because it will clear out the nose, and you'll be spitting all kinds of horrible stuff out, but at least it will be gone and you'll be feeling right as rain.
Yeah, no, it reminds me, because I had the same conversation with someone today and found my old one, nasal spray, with iodine in it, but that was for COVID, because iodine worked really well for the the lipid membrane. Yeah, not much fun shoving that up your nose. But I think as well, which helps. So those are great tips, Mo.
Yeah.
I love that, mate.
And if you can get into even using either like a neti pot or a normal, as I say, like that company sells a normal nasal spray,
Yeah,
do that twice a day. The amount
yeah,
of crap we're breathing in through our nose, particularly if you're breathing properly, not mouth breathing, which is very bad for you, but nasal, I mean, mouth breathing should only be done when you're when you're talking, and when you're exercising at a high intensity. Other than that, you shouldn't be mouth breathing at all. It should all be through the nose, because through the nose, you've got the nasal membrane, which is going to catch a lot of those pathogens and toxins and things like that. But you need to clear them out. You need to. That's why in Ayurveda, they use the neti pot, because you're going to tip it in, it's going to go down the back, and then you're going to spit it out. I do that first thing in the morning and first thing and last thing at night before I go to bed, every single time. And as I say, I'm never sick. I never get colds. I never get sore throats, coughs, or any of those things. So it clearly works.
yeah. And going on that, because I think there's a good thing to keep touching base on as well. I think obviously we as we know, a large percentage of your immune system is largely made up in your gut. So if you start there, build fundamentally, good sleep practices, good light environment, activity. We know exercise can contribute as well. Diet massively. I don't know about you, but switching more seasonally. Talked about this last time on the podcast, where shifting away from like bodybuilding and more into sort of health, and more so eating at maintenance. No, not really driving and putting.
You don't want any growth signals right now. No growth signals right now, because it's the wrong time of year.
Yeah,
It's the wrong time of year. Now is about, in the winter, you wouldn't have access to an abundance of food. You've only got like apples and pears. That's it. You've got underground. We haven't got blackberries. You've got underground tubers. So potatoes, turnips, parsnips, swede, butternut squash.
Yeah.
But again, make sure they're grown in the UK, not these ones that have been imported from Spain, because that's not local.
No.
And basically, you're going to be, and all of those underground tubers are very low carbohydrate. Like if you compare like a butternut squash to rice, you can have way more butternut squash than you can rice from the carbohydrate value. So you'd be going slightly more keto in the way that you eat. So it would be higher fats preferentially, because you'd have the meats and all those other types of things. So seasonal switching with food is so important, particularly when it comes to driving down inflammation as well. Like that more keto, cyclical keto.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't have carbs. I'm saying like that cyclical keto, where like you're starting your morning without the carbohydrates, and you're having your carbs after training or whatever it is that you're doing, or before in the evening to help with the serotonin and all that stuff. That's important, because you need to get those right balances of cortisol and stress hormones and things like that. But that higher fat ratio is going to drive down inflammation anyway. So you're going to find your immune system is going to be better, because, as you say, the immune system, well, the GALT, what's it called? The lymph-activated lymphoid tissue. That's the immune system of the stomach, and that's what's going to be controlling a lot of the other things that are going on. So if you're eating things out of season, if you're eating things that the body doesn't want, if they're processed, all those other type of things, and you're driving up that inflammatory process, well, yeah, you're just waiting to be sick. But while I remember, I actually searched the name of that company. So it's called Sterimar. Breathe Easy. That's the name of the spray. Sterimar.
Straight into my basket, Mark.
Oh, I missed that guy. I missed that guy. He used to make me laugh.
Yeah, no, I've got a list of stuff. We're running the colostrum. We're running vitamin D now. I haven't done vitamin D for so long, because as we've mentioned about before, I feel like if you've got adequate amounts of sunlight, because there's sort of these three different forms of vitamin D.
It's actually 13.
Oh, I got that wrong then.
I only found that out the other day from Zaid Khan
Wow.
when I had him on the podcast. There's 13 different forms of vitamin D.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm largely talking about vitamin D3 that gets activated through UVB, so through the sun in the skin. Well, there ain't no fucking sunlight, folks, at the minute, hardly.
Well,
So,
should have stocked up in the summer.
yeah, but being stocked up in the summer, but from what I can see from my last blood results, and being so nutrient deficient and so low in body fat, it's not the best place to be. So I was going to kickstart my supplementation again. And would you advise people this time of year to start supplementing with vitamin D if they didn't get adequate amount of sunlight during
So
the summer months?
this is where we have to be a little bit more nuanced in how we're looking at vitamin D. So
Yeah.
the vitamin D that we're testing in bloods, that's the inactive form. So to get an active form of vitamin D test is very expensive and it's very hard to do. That would give you your actual activated form of vitamin D in the system. The inactive form is basically telling you what's stored and what's available. And obviously vitamin D is stored in fat cells and all those other types of things. So cold exposure would liberate that from the fat cells as well. So having cold exposure, if you had any stored vitamin D that's inactive, by having cold exposure like cold showers or ice baths or getting cold outside, it will liberate that from the fat cells. But we have to remember that vitamin D and melatonin act on exactly the same anti-inflammatory immune system receptor. So if you are stocking up on your vitamin D in the summer, which most people should be, in the winter, melatonin will actually take over if you understand how melatonin is made and stored. So melatonin is actually made through daylight. So the more outside you are, the more melatonin you produce subcellularly. And then at night, when it's complete darkness, not these lights, but like, again, thinking ancestrally, light from above equals sun, light from below equals fire. So the fire color, the amber, like the Himalayan lamps, candles, this is going to signify majority darkness, and that's going to help produce and release the melatonin from the pineal. That's very important for the melatonin to be produced when vitamin D is absent. So this is why in the northern hemisphere we should be respecting darkness so much in the winter time, particularly in that evening period, obviously, and respecting it in the mornings. Like if you're getting up before sunrise, having your lights on and all that stuff is just an absolute nightmare for the system. Like these are all incandescents, so they're giving me daylight, but the light behind me here, I can turn those bulbs red, which means that as I'm walking around in the morning, I've got red lights on until the sun comes up. And as it's getting closer to sunrise, I'll change it from red to amber, same color as your glasses.
Yeah.
And then once sun rises up, it goes, because this is the color that I'll have just as sunrise happens.
Yeah.
And then once sunrise happens, I'll turn it brighter. And then I'll be outside anyway. And I ignore my phone, all those things. But it's just understanding that crossover between vitamin D and melatonin. So we want to be ideally producing and storing more melatonin in the winter to, again, act on that same receptor as what vitamin D does for the immune system. So if you are, so you're from the UK, I'm from the UK, my ancestral lineage is UK, Italy, Israel,
Yeah.
and Poland. So I'm predominantly northern hemisphere, which means that my mitochondrial kind of haplotype is uncoupled. So it can survive in the winter time and generate heat. If your ancestry, your lineage comes from the equator, south of the equator, so like India, Africa, all these places, you are a coupled haplotype, meaning that your mitochondria cannot generate heat. So you are going to suffer in the northern hemisphere, one, from the cold, so cold exposure and all those things for that kind of ethnicity can be a bit of a shock on the system. Not to say that you can't do it, but you wouldn't be able to do it as regularly as I would from a health benefit perspective or from how you would. But it also means that during the summer and those lower, shorter UVB times like through September and October, you're not getting enough UVB exposure to convert the vitamin D that you need into your system to produce an adequate amount for your system to run properly. This is when you need to supplement with vitamin D, because your body is geared to be in the sun in UVB for 90% of the year. So for you not to have it, this is going to cause problems. This is why in those ethnic groups we start seeing diabetes, cardiovascular disease, obesity, because of the fact that they are mismatched from that perspective. So for people of that background, yes, I would suggest that there would be a low level of vitamin D in the system, but also respecting darkness at night so that you get the melatonin as well. But I wouldn't be having them on like 20,000 IUs of vitamin D, or maybe even 10,000. It depends really on their level of health. If they were really in a very bad state, I'll be like, right, let's push you into 10,000. Let's get the stores up.
Yeah.
But just also make sure that cholesterol, lipids, LDL is all good, because we need that cholesterol backbone to sulfate so we can produce it. But I would then, if they're not in a very bad healthy way, I'd be like 2,000, 3,000 IUs a day would be fine.
I think generally, Mark, for the general population who do live in the UK, I would say a higher dose would be better.
Yep.
Because of that exact same reason.
Yeah, and I just think, if your health is in that bad way, like if somebody's again northern haplotype and has an autoimmune condition, or they have an overactive immune response, I'll put them on vitamin D because it's going to help control that. But once it's under control, I would definitely back that down because it's not going to be needed. So it's just about, again, as we always say to people, it's about the testing, it's about the nuance, it's about the context of the individual. I don't like shotgun approaches, but if people just wanted a little bit of an idea of what to do, then if you didn't get much sun exposure and your vitamin D storage levels are low, that can either tell me that you're having liver issues and conversion issues, or that you just don't have enough. So I would address both pathways at the same time. But again, if you find that you frequently start falling ill in the winter, then take some vitamin D if it's going to help you out. I don't see any harm in it. But just don't overdose it. Just don't go mental. Don't do like the 20,000 IUs and stuff. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Yeah, we'll be implementing that imminently with myself. It's such a basic one. It was shot down actually with the whole lockdown COVID files.
Yep. COVID files. Love it.
But it was.
Yeah,
it was the most, it's the most well-researched vitamin, factual vitamin. Time and time again, shows in literature about immune system, immune health, immunity, and here we are, demonizing it for profitable gain.
I know.
So
same with all the things that helped with it. NAC, zinc, ivermectin, all of these things got pushed to the side, and you got silenced if you spoke about it, because that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to fight against it. The goal was to suffer from it and to let the body like capitulate under it. That was the whole point. But this is where now, with the studies that they've been coming out with, showing that the herd immunity piece, that innate immune response, you had a far better outcome long term. Now that we've got like 5 years, almost 6 years worth of data, you had a far better outcome than you did if you got vaccinated. Purely based on the fact that, again, like with and I hate calling them vaccinations because they're not. They didn't, anybody that I know that had them, they still caught COVID. So it's not a vaccine. So it doesn't stop you getting it. It's not like measles and mumps and rubella and MMRA and all that stuff. Like, it doesn't stop you getting it.
No.
Well, we're not going to get into that, but like the outcome is, like, ideally let your innate and adaptive immune system do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah,
it's there to protect you for a reason. We haven't survived all these years without it. And granted, back in like the 1800s, sanitary issues were a problem. I get that, and I think that's an important piece to kind of pin and say, like, okay, we're much more sanitary now, but at the same time we are overly sanitized to the point where you touch something which might have a little bit on it, and all of a sudden you're dying the next day because your body's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
I ain't got a clue. And that's not a good place to be.
It's so interesting because I used going back to without going down the rabbit hole of COVID, because I feel like we might get flagged up on YouTube for that.
I think it's just been done.
Been and gone though. Through, yeah,
it's been done.
Looking at my health timeline as well, I remember when I worked at a big health club, I had access to more daylight. I had more access to using the elements, as you say, like a sauna, cold plunge. And I have those luxuries now, but it's so funny because throughout that period, and gyms aren't the most cleanliest environments, as people literally going for a whoopsie, not washing their hands. Whoopsie's number two, by the way, guys. If you're wondering what's a whoopsie, that's just my my way of calling it. Going up, using dumbbells, using kit. So the spreading of all these horrible, nasty viruses and infections is sort of like a bear trap waiting to happen. But because I had access to those modalities like the sauna, the cold plunge, and I would regularly use them during winter to help support the immune system as well, and just overall health in general. I never got sick, man. I never got unwell. And then fast track to 2018 when I took the plunge and went on my own, left the fancy health club, didn't have access to as much daylight, a lot under artificial light as well. And we've already talked about the dangers of artificial light with two amazing guests. So if you haven't checked those episodes out, Daniel White, Jeff, you got to, because we go in with the science hard of why it's so important. But hey, when I was under that indoor lighting, and I mean like pretty much all day, every day, 6 days a week, no access to saunas, no access to cold plunge, I'd get so run down, Mark, every winter. Like from Christmas, when I'd just take that break, it would then boom hit me like a train, and it would take me 10 days to bounce back from that. And then fast forward to now, functional health, looking at things from a different lens, like we both do now. Really pushing hard on the modalities. In fact, after this podcast, I'm going to go get some infrared and get some cold plunge under myself. I was, completely different story now. So it's very interesting.
100%. And you just have to think about our grandparents and their parents.
Mm,
They spent the majority of their time outside,
yeah.
gardening, doing all those types of things, walking, what have you, like, because there weren't as many cars and buses and trains and all those other things. And they were fit and healthy. The majority of them weren't obese, they didn't have diabetes or anything like that. And then you
Heard
fast
of,
forward.
mate, was it?
No, exactly.
Heard of.
Particularly childhood obesity and childhood onset
Or
diabetes
asthma,
or asthma
like,
or
yeah.
anxiety or any of those things, where if you fast forward to 2025, 2026, as we're coming into that period, no one's health's got better. Everyone's health has got worse. So you have to think, well, if you're asking the same questions and getting the same answers and doing the same things and getting the same result, then something's broken, something's wrong, something's not right there. They did a study where they show like 90 was something like we spend 96% of our time indoors.
Yeah.
We're outdoor mammals. We're not meant to be indoors all that time. And if we are indoors, we have to make sure that we are respecting seasonality and circadian natures of who we are by having circadian light bulbs and all those things. And when I say it's to clients, like, oh, it's such an effort. Really? Circadian bulbs aren't more expensive than normal bulbs. Like incandescent bulbs, as an example, they're £2.50. £2.50 for an incandescent bulb. Like Christmas tree lights. Like I'm actually going to get a real tree this year. I've binned all my LED bulbs, all of them. I went on Amazon, typed in incandescent bulb. I can get a 20-foot red and then a separate white, like the warm white that I would have had in the 80s when I was growing up, because they were all incandescent then. It's the same price as normal lights, but yet I can have a much, like at night I'll turn the white ones off and just have red. Like it's easy things to do, but the difference is, again, like, and I had this conversation with, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Chris Gethin or something. I said that people will pay for convenience over paying with time and effort.
Yeah, your convenience is killing you.
Right? Convenience is killing everybody. It's too much comfort. There's too much convenience. Like when people come into my home, my thermostat's set at 17 degrees. My windows are wide open even now. And they're like, aren't you cold? No, I'm aware that it's cold, but I don't feel it. It doesn't register because I've become cold adapted. Like the only time I feel it is when I get into my ice bath for 5 minutes. Then I'm bloody cold. And when I get out, I'm shivering, but that's the point. But outside of that, no, I don't feel it. Like even when I get into bed, it's cold. And that's because when I go into bed, I want it to be cold because it drops my core body temperature, which means I get a deeper sleep.
You sleep, yeah.
That's the whole point of it. So I think, if we look at the people in history that were healthier, you've got to go back to our grandparents and their parents. They were much healthier than we are when it comes to like general physical health. My granddad, my mum's dad, up until his like early 80s, like the guy was still tending a 4.5 acre garden
Yeah.
and he'd walk everywhere,
Hmm.
right? He was fit as a butcher's dog. There was nothing wrong with him health wise in that regard. And you just got to
Yeah.
think, well, then there's got to be lessons to be learned from that, right? Like,
Yeah.
he can't be wrong, and the other grandparents and great grandparents who were like that can't be wrong. And if you look at all the blue zones, as much as I don't specifically agree with the data from that, all of it, like they all are social, they've all got community, but they're all outside.
Yeah.
Like they're all outside
Yeah.
eating seasonal foods and stuff like that. But yet in Western society, we have the sheer ignorance to be like, oh yeah, but we've got science.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
No,
no,
I
we do,
agree.
we do, but it's not helping. There isn't an NAD tree, right? Granted, it's a great step up where we can actually hack these things, but you've got to do the foundational things.
Yeah,
You
no,
have to do the
dude,
foundational
I
things,
agree.
you know.
Even I stumbled across and had the same conversation that just sparked my memory of these hospitals by the coast that are available.
Heliotherapy.
Heliotherapy, yeah, in sort of like the post-war era,
Yep,
up until the 50s,
yep.
where regardless if you had asthma, if you had you know, any illness, respiratory infection, just recovering from surgery, post-traumatic stress from the war, they would send people and ship them to effectively these places.
Sun hospitals,
And
basically.
hospitals,
Yeah.
yeah,
It looked
very
like
good results.
it looked like a swimming pool in Benidorm, but the beds were all in a line, and rather than it being a sun bed, it was a hospital bed.
Yeah,
And everybody was wearing like white nappies. Like if you
yeah,
look at the pictures, they're all in these white pants. Well, the women obviously had the bra on as well. It was all white because they knew that the color white drew the light in, and it was reflected. It was all cotton, so from a frequency light perspective, the light
no
could pass
polyester
through
here,
cotton.
folks.
No polyester, no viscose, none of that crap. It all was natural fibers because they emit a frequency, and
Yeah,
it relates to the body's frequency, but it allows the light to travel through. It doesn't stop the infrared or the red light traveling through. So basically, it's like tan through clothing that they were wearing out in the sun. And again, you say it doesn't matter whether you had a cold or whether you had an arm amputated, you were outside for
yeah,
most of the day.
yeah,
Obviously, not burning, not being daft, but like just getting that outdoor exposure for the fresh air and the colours and the light and the sun, the warmth, all those things. And they had
mm.
tremendous results doing that.
I never heard anyone that is had negative effects being outside.
No,
Have you?
no, no.
It's
Only,
more.
only, only when it's mad dogs and Englishmen that go outside in the midday sun. That's the only time that I hear that. Oh, I burned. Yeah, of course you did. You spent, again, the majority of your time so far indoors. You've then gone on holiday, and the first thing you've done is gone out at midday when the sun's at its hottest, the UVB's at its highest, and you're going to burn. It's just
Eating.
that simple. Like, why do that? If you ever go to countries around Europe, like Spain and what have you, where they siesta for a reason. It's not because they're lazy. It's because they siesta. I used to live in Spain. I lived there for 5.5 years.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I remember you
I
saying.
know this. Like they siesta between like 1 and 4:30 because of the fact that it's too bloody hot
Yeah,
and it's too risky to be outside in that level of sun working. So they will work all morning and get a wicked tan, and then they will be outside from 5 o'clock until 7:30
beach. Yeah,
getting a wicked tan. Like,
yeah,
and whenever they go to the beach, they don't go the same times we do. Again, they go in the morning and they go in the late afternoon, early evening. One, to avoid all the tourists, but two, because it means they get a wicked tan without burning. And if you look at them, they're all brown as hell. Everybody that's British that's there is walking around looking like a lobster. Got to take a leaf from their book. They do it for a
oh
reason.
man, I did, and again, going back to the immune story of the cold and the heat, put it to the test for 3 years running, Mark, and we've discussed this many a time. When I went abroad this year, Spain, and the previous year in Tenerife, I did not burn once, and it's because of the early morning sun, eating a good diet, listening to the the signals. Applying no sunscreen. I kid you, I shit you not. I've not worn sunglasses now in 4 years. My eyesight is improved. The only time that I ever put on sunglasses is if I'm driving and the glare on the road,
Yep.
or if I'm skiing,
Yep.
the glare from
Snow.
from the snow. That's the
Yep.
only time that I
And if
wear
you're on a
them.
boat, as well, because of the glare from the
Yes.
water, because that will blind you, like 100%. That's the only time to wear them.
Yeah.
Is that from a safety perspective? But dude, this time last year, literally a year. It was a year
Yeah.
ago yesterday that I flew out, but it was a year ago today that I landed. I was in El Salvador.
Yeah.
BB11, 39 degrees, no tanning, no sunblock, nothing like that. Just a natural oil, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Brown as anything, never burnt. I was out in the sun, other than the midday sun. I was out all morning, out all evening. Middle of the day, we were doing talks and whatnot. So I was under like shadow, shade, what have you. Didn't burn, not once.
No, I know, man.
No
It's to
sunglasses.
trust yourself a little bit, and I think partly diet does play a big role. I feel in you accelerating burning, poor dietary fats, processed food. You know that, like seasonal eating. I'm guessing as well when you're out in El Salvador, you were having access to like mangoes, pineapples, fruit that was
Yep.
in season,
Yep.
local.
Yep.
You know, which makes a big difference. And again, same this year myself. I haven't been that far away. We're planning on Costa Rica in the new year.
Amazing.
I plan on eating seasonally there, but I cut back on the seasonal, like those sort of exotic fruits this year. And the same thing, got a really wicked tan. Didn't burn once, and I was gutted. Even the bodybuilding, I sort of said, "Oh, I'm gonna try and attempt a natural tan." Didn't happen because we just didn't have the sunlight available. But there you go. We can live in hope. But by the end of September, yeah, had a massive difference
Yep.
again. So it's trusting in yourself, guys. Like
And that
building your
morning,
immune system.
the morning sun is the most important thing,
Yeah,
because once the infrared and red that you get from the sunrise and before UVA starts tells it basically conditions your skin to a point. Then when UVA hits, that's when you start building what's known as the solar callus, because you will get a tan in UVA, but it won't burn you because it's not UVB. So if you can spend as much time as you can in the summer out around UVA, which is about an hour after sunrise, 20 minutes, just walking out, as much skin exposed to the UVA as possible, and then the same in the evening once the UVB's gone, and you sit outside in that UVA window. You do that in the early summer, so kind of like, I guess, like April, May time. By the time you get to June, July, August, you've already got a wicked base tan. This is known as building your solar callus.
yeah,
So that way, then when you do go out in the higher UVB ranges during the summer, even if you're out there for 20 minutes, you won't burn, but
no,
you will get a really good melanin response, and you just get this massive boost in tan. And
yeah,
you keep doing that morning UVA, the morning red light, it's just going to condition the skin, and you're just never going to burn. Sometimes you'll get this thing called an erythema response, which is where the skin ever so slightly goes pink before it goes red. That's an erythema response. That's your body saying to you, move into the shade.
yeah,
Like, move into the shade now, get out of the sun, because it's too much for your current level. And you will get that initially, but take that as a sign. When you start seeing the pinkening, or you start feeling that, like, not the prickly bit, but just before, move out. You don't need to be in the sun then. And again, the reason why you don't wear sunglasses is because that darkness is telling your brain it's dark out, not sunny.
yeah,
So melanin doesn't start to produce, which means you don't get a tan. What you start doing is burning
yeah. I remember
because of
trying
the
that out.
sunglasses. So you actually tan quicker and better without sunglasses. That's the
Yeah.
reason why as well. And it blocks the light coming through, so you get really skewed circadian rhythms.
See if I can find this killer photo. It was mine and Chloe's first holiday as together as a couple, and I ate terribly back then. Would apply toxic sunscreen and would wear sunglasses, and we fell asleep on the beach.
Lobster time.
Oh yeah, maybe one for another day. I'm trying to look back on the iPhone. It was horrific, absolutely horrific. Like a lobster, like red, really damaged myself. White bits in the middle, not good. that was a lesson. I tell you that. But again, clear sign of poor biology there. Wearing sunglasses.
It's a
You know,
mismatch.
think you're mismatch. Think you're invincible. You know, well, eventually, how many people do we know? Like, oh
It will
well,
eventually turn into a
a
tan.
bird eventually turns to a tan, doesn't it? And like, mate, no, you've just caused a lot of stress.
You just cooked yourself, basically.
You have, yeah,
You
you
know, you're
have,
like a roast chicken in the oven that started off pink and goes brown. There's no
yeah.
sun in there. You
But
just
it's
cooked yourself.
but it's interesting, isn't it? Like, because this always gets thrown up is, oh well, the sun causes skin cancer. We know, with more and more evidence emerging, um, it's to do with how you're exposing yourself. And I had a bit of an argument with my dad about this. He said, "Well, I know someone who was who was a lorry driver who had got skin cancer, and he was out in the sun all the time." Like, no, he was possibly in a cab throughout his whole day, and glass doesn't. We've talked about this as well, with the windows all the way up and then blasting through aircon. I'm not surprised he sadly had those issues, and I don't wish that on anyone. But it increases that UVB exposure, doesn't
Yep.
it?
Yep. It's the isolated UVB.
Yeah,
That's the problem. So when you isolate blue and you isolate the UVB through a window, you're not getting any of the infrared or the red, or hardly any. You're getting no UVA, so there's no balance in the frequency. And this is where you get that really well-known picture of the old boy who had skin aging on one side of his face and not on the other. That's to do with the window. It's got nothing to do with the sun per se. It's how he was exposed to that sun. And all the studies that they do on UVB and skin cancer is done in vitro, so in a lab,
in a lab. Yeah,
with isolated UVB. Well, yeah, you're going to cause a problem here, because anything isolated like that is going to disrupt the signal because it's not natural. That's the problem. Like they did a study with Swedish women, I think Swedish or something like the ones that got more kind of like the more serious carcinogenic melanomas than they did for the non-carcinogenic melanomas, and the ones that exposed themselves more to sun more regularly had the higher degree of non-carcinogenic to the ones that were inside more and then would go and sit out in the sun and sunbathe. They got the carcinogenic ones. So and again, we wouldn't wish this on anybody, but it's how you expose
yeah,
yourself to the sun that causes these problems. And again, like if you go outside, you don't have isolated blue, you don't have isolated UVB in a beam coming at you. It's a little bit like when you get a magnifying glass and you pinpoint the sun's ray onto a leaf and it starts to set it on fire. It's because
yeah,
you're isolating it down into a point.
yeah.
But you put a leaf in the sun, it doesn't catch fire. Think of it like that. If you isolate something through a window or a magnifying glass, yeah, it's going to catch that thing on fire because you're making it a very short point and it's vibrating a lot faster, so it's going to act a lot quicker. But when you're outside, the waves are slower and they're dispersed and they bounce off trees and things like that, so it's never direct.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
and if you're ever thinking, oh, this doesn't make sense, well, now it does. Magnifying glass and sun on a leaf in the sun. They don't do the same thing at all.
Yeah. So that's fun, putting myself again as an experiment.
Oh, we've all got to be that N of one experiment, brother. All got to be that N of one experiment.
Yeah, but it helped a lot. Helped a hell of a lot, and that's but then again, that's why we choose to live in the UK, I suppose. Is
Choose. Choose.
choose. Sorry.
Don't choose.
Yeah. To rephrase myself. Currently live in the UK, you have to get used to all the elements.
You do. Of course you do. You have to, and you have to respect them.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. Is you just have to respect them, and remember that we're part of a system. We're not above the system. There's a quote that I say to people that I work with where I say, I'm not above you and I'm not below you, but I'm always beside you, because I'm part of the journey. I am not the journey. They're doing the journey themselves, but I'm part of that journey, and I'm blessed and grateful and humbled to be chosen to be part of their journey. We are part of a system that is far grander and bigger than we are.
Oh.
We can't have that ignorance to think that we know, because we don't. We are, this whole thing, like I said to you about the 13 different forms of vitamin D.
Yeah.
They've only just discovered that there's 13. They've only just discovered that one's water soluble.
Yeah.
And that's vitamin D. So imagine what they don't know. It's that whole kind of known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. A lot of the stuff about the human body and nature and the environment and all the rest of it is an unknown unknown, because we just don't know. We don't know enough about the quantum. We don't know enough about that really deep kind of universal energetic thing. Like they used to think between planets there was nothing. There was just a vacuum of space, and there isn't. There's the ether. That's the quantum. That's the energy between things. There is no nothing there. It's called the ether. The ancients knew that. They all knew there was a universal energy. Science went, no, there's not. There's nothing. It's just a gap. There's just nothing. Not even space in space. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So science is right until it proves itself wrong. All the time, and that's why you've got to have critical thinking. You have to, even the stuff that we are saying right now, you have to ask, was that true?
Yeah, go away. Yeah, don't take our word for it. Go away.
Right.
Do the research. Do it. Test it yourself.
The amount of hours we spend on our phone scrolling, well, don't scroll. Do some research. Go to PubMed or wherever and just type it in. Or go to Google Scholar, type it in. Just do your research and don't just read the conclusion, read the paper. Then get to the conclusion and make your own mind up. Because again, that conclusion is made by the person who did the test. So just work it from there.
Love that. Love that. But how are you feeling at the minute then, Mark?
I'm amazing. I have to be honest with you. I feel absolutely fantastic at the moment. There's a lot of moving pieces at the moment. Literally every day I'm waking up and there's more opportunities, there's more blessings coming in, all unexpected miracles and blessings coming in every single day. Like it's truly, I don't want to use the word overwhelming because it's not, but it is at the same time. But it's just a true blessing to be able to help as many people as I'm helping and be part of the things that I'm being asked to be part of, because it's going to make such a difference. Like I love that, doing having my own peptide company, my own red light company, all those things, getting ready for the Black Friday sales, making what we made already more affordable, even more affordable for people. Talking to a couple of other companies right now where we're going to be changing certain things, getting it rebranded, all these stuff. Like it's amazing. Like I love it, and I get the privilege to work with some amazing individuals. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is when you're an entrepreneur and you're running so many businesses and doing so many things, you have to quickly understand that you have to fire yourself from a lot of these jobs that you're doing. Because the peptide company, the red light company, all that stuff, I bootstrapped it. Did it with minimal investment because I didn't know how much I'd need. So a lot of it's been bootstrapping, which means, I'm also working with clients still. I'm also working with other companies and business partners and other things, blah, 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 blah. So I have to structure my time. I can't just wake up today and go, right, so what am I going to do? I have to wake up and be like, right, okay, so this is what's happening today. We're going to focus on this, going to do this, going to do this, going to do this. And 90% of the time, as I say, you plan, God laughs. It changes completely because that's not what I'm meant to be doing. Okay, cool, fine. I'll do that instead then. Like the other was it last week? It was Tuesday. I put the whole day down to send out all the international orders that I had. Yeah, Cloudflare went down, so I couldn't pay for any deliveries. I couldn't book a delivery to be picked up or dropped off. So for 24 hours, I couldn't send out any orders. And all I'm seeing is more orders coming in, and I'm thinking, oh shit. So what did I do? Okay, well, with the orders that I had, I just emailed every single one of them and said, I'm really sorry, but Cloudflare is down. I can't book deliveries, so deliveries are going to be delayed. I do apologize, but what I'll do is I will pay for a faster delivery than what I would normally pay for, so that way then you get it on time. That's all I can do. And so what did I do with the rest of my day? Well, I spent my time making sure that for this other thing that's come up, I need a ton more legal documentation than what I do for what I currently do. So I was like, right, I'm just going to do all of that then. So I'll get all that done and get caught up on that. So feeling good, dude. Like just feeling very blessed every day. Like our arm feels great. Like for people that don't know, I had my arm rebuilt. So arm feels fantastic. First time in the gym this week, I was able to actually do a incline dumbbell press with my right arm. Bearing in mind, left arm, single arm, 30 kilos. Right arm, 4. 4. Not because I haven't got the strength in my chest to push it up, but because I had a bit of atrophy in the tricep, plus the mechanics of stability through the shoulder and the elbow and the wrist is all higgledy-piggledy. So as I'm pressing it up, my arm just wants to go, no. It wants to come this way or go that way. So I have to do it really slowly and everything, but just a small win like that, 3 sets of 6. Didn't feel anything, like didn't feel like it was activating anything, didn't feel like it was hurting anything, but just to be able to do that movement, I was like, this is the beginning now. Now I can
Yeah.
rebuild it, and granted, when the accident happened, I was, what, 10% body fat and 77 kilos. Best I've ever felt. I'm now 71.5 kilos and 8% body fat. Okay, so I've lost a little bit of body fat, but I've lost a shit ton of muscle. So, okay, not the greatest thing, because I'm only a kilo and a half heavier than what I was this time last year. So all of that, you could say all of that work I've done up until this point is gone. Well, is it?
No,
Of course
no,
it's not.
no.
Of
It
course it's
doesn't
not.
go. It's like anything. There's muscle memory,
Yep,
just adaptation again, isn't it?
exactly. And I'm
So
looking forward to rebuilding.
I remember, and I'll do a post on this soon. When I bounced back from chronic fatigue for like months on end, didn't train, I went down to 50 kilos, which is the lightest I've ever been. And I have got a photo for that as well.
I can't imagine you at 50 kilos, dude. I really can't.
There you go. So 2013. Can you see that?
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that was like the week after, like, I finally feel normal again. I feel like me again. No weird autoimmune, erythema nodules, burning in the mouth. None of that. And I remember, like, you going back to the gym and pressing. I only managed to press, like, for a flat dumbbell chest press, 4 kilos. It was just, oh shit, and being so sore, but I loved it. Um, not nothing in regret. Like, oh, where we are. Like, what? How long's the journey going to be?
Doesn't matter.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
I will.
The time's going to pass anyway. So it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I will get better. I
Yeah.
just need to, do one thing, put one foot in front of the other. It's like anything, injury, trauma, whatever. Like, one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, and you get to your destination again. And it's all
Exactly.
relative.
It's not come to break you. It's come to build you.
Yeah,
That's how I always look at these things. Like every day when I wake up, I'm grateful to be alive because, using that injury as an example, that dumbbell could have crushed my skull. If my elbow had given way half a second sooner, I wouldn't be here at all. I wouldn't be right now having this conversation with you. I wouldn't be looking forward to spending Christmas with people that I love. I would not be here, and same with the autoimmune. Like, very, very grateful to be here because there are so many people that don't, as you know from last week, hence why we're a little bit late with this podcast. One of my ex-clients he was an ex-client. He unfortunately passed away from colon cancer due to the IBD. We just didn't catch it early enough, and there wasn't really much else that we could do. But in that journey, he was living abroad, and one of the first things I said to him before we started fully working together was, "You need to come home." I was like, "Why?" I was like, "Because we never know." I was like, "Tomorrow's not guaranteed." I was like, "You need to come home." I was like, "You've not lived at home for, like, I think it was like 4 years or 3 years." I was like, "Come home, be with your family, see your mum, see your dad, just be here, be with your friends."
yeah,
Because we don't know. We just don't know. Right. And we didn't know at that time how far on he was, which was unfortunate. But it's a good thing that he did come back because he got to spend 7 months, 8 months with his mum and his dad and his brother and his friends, which he would not have had if he'd stayed in Bangkok.
yeah.
He'd have been there on his own. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a good place to be,
No, not on your own.
No,
Family,
and when
community
something
is
like
so
that
important.
happens, as I said to you last week, it just makes you so grateful that things worked out the way they did. Like, I'm very grateful every day that I'm here, And yeah, okay, it's annoying that this happened. Yeah, of course it is. I didn't want it to happen. Same way that you didn't want that stuff to happen to you, but it has. So it is what it is, but it'll be what you make it. You've got to look at it. You've always got a 50-50 choice with these things. You can either be negative about them or positive about them. Negative makes you feel shit about it. So why be negative?
No, it doesn't.
Right?
It doesn't
All
serve.
you're after there is emotional validation for somebody to go, yeah, you're right to feel shit. Life's been hard. And what?
Yeah, yeah.
And what? Life has been hard. And all
Mhm.
the things that have been hard in your life, you've defeated and you are here.
Mhm.
This is just another one.
Yeah.
But rather than focus on that, think of all the things that actually feel good every day, like 4 kilo dumbbell press. Yay! Amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just be grateful for it because what alternative is there? There is no alternative. There is no other option in
I
my
think
eyes.
it's extremely hard when you're. And I had said this in my stories this week about building a moat. You've got to build a moat in your mind more now than ever with the recent, budget update going slightly into politics. Um, it's very easy to get triggered, and when emotions are high, you know, yeah, when your emotions are high, your decision making is just very, very low. intelligence is low. That was what I was looking for. When emotions are high, intelligence is low. You've got to build a moat more now than ever. I'd say more now than ever because, fun fact, everything that we said on our podcast 2 years ago has actually come to light. And we're going to deep dive in this in a minute with the 10-minute tinfoil hat piece. But you've got to build the moat, Mark, haven't you? And surround yourself with people who are seeing the positive in what may look like a very dark and challenging time, but there is beauty in everything. And being poised, you know. So positive, negative, experiencing all of it. You've got to have, you know, with darkness there comes light, but you've got to have both in your life.
Of course you do. You can't appreciate happiness until you've been sad. You can't appreciate beauty unless you've experienced ugliness. You can't appreciate health until you've been sick. Right? And if you look in the universe, everything's duality. Up, down, left, right, dark, light. There's always a balance. Always. You know, and if you just look at the surfer analogy, if the wave was constant, well, one, the whole universe, the whole world would be flooded. But two, where would be the excitement for the surfer? He wouldn't be able to get off. The whole point of the wave is to go up and then come down. That is the whole point. So that way then you experience the high and then the wake, where you can reset and recharge and rebuild and come back in again. Do it better. That's the whole point. And that's just all about perception. Like how you see the thing is how you respond to the thing. Like everything is a moment of perception in that regard. So right now when I'm looking at you, I'm aware there's things to the either side of me, and I'm aware there's something behind me, but scratch the camera because I can see what's behind me. So I'm looking at you. My moment is you. If I turn my head to the right, that's now my moment and you're not, right? Same way that right now, as I've said this many times, Saturn has rings, but you don't think about it. Ever. You don't ever think that right now Saturn has rings, or Jupiter's a really big fucking planet, or there's 3i Atlas cruising around the galaxy and we don't quite know what it is, right? No one thinks about it until somebody brings it up. And the reason why that's important is because what you focus on matters. If every time you put on a pair of shoes and you went out for a walk, your brain kept going to you, you've got shoes on. You've got shoes on. You're wearing shoes. You'd be like, brain, shut up. I know I've got shoes on. So the brain just goes, don't need to tell you that. You know you've got shoes on. So perception matters, and all these things, what you aim at determines what you see. This is why I say you've got that 50-50 choice. It can either be good or bad.
Yeah.
Better or worse. But
well, that brings us on. Yeah, that brings us on to breaking this next subject down. So it's been a while since we've done with these. So
I've done this for ages.
Clue, just going to plug the 10-minute tinfoil hat takeover. So here we go.
Welcome to the Tinfoil Hat 10-Minute Takeover, where we're about to unravel the secrets and myths that the health and fitness industry doesn't want you to know. Mark and Joey will be exposing the shocking studies and revealing the unspoken truths that will challenge your perception of health and well-being. So get ready for a mind-bending journey as they shed light on the hidden facts, debunk the myths, and question the status quo. It's time to trade in your tinfoil hat for the wisdom and knowledge you've been missing. Buckle up for the Tinfoil Hat Takeover.
And we're back. So with this piece, we haven't discussed this for a little while. So I've saved the best till last, the juicy bits for you guys. So I recently have done some digging, and this article, it did do the rounds, but it's kind of like what most of these topics do. They get a little bit of interest and they die off because people are asleep. So here we go. This was, I know, a Guardian article, but there are other articles out there that have kind of shed light on the same thing. But there's a talk of a new planetary health diet that apparently could save 40,000 deaths a day. This is a landmark report. So this planetary health diet allows modest meat consumption and will also slash food-related climate emissions, there we go, by half, by 70 leading experts from 35 different countries. So in this article, which we'll put in the show notes, so you can, again, research yourself, and we'll deep dive into this in a minute, Mark, is these so-called experts want an adoption of a plant-rich planetary health diet, which could prevent, here's the goal, 40,000 early deaths a day across the world, according to a landmark report. So it allows moderate meat consumption and related measures to slash the food-related emissions, driving the global heating by half by 2050. So there we go. And this so-called diet is flexible, allowing it to be adapted to local tastes and includes some animal products or be vegetarian or vegan. However, all versions advise eating more vegetables, fruits, nuts, legumes, whole grains than most people in the world currently eat. In today's many places, most diets are unhealthy and unsustainable due to too much meat, too much milk, cheese, animal fats, and sugar. Apparently to an expert here, which we're going to deep dive in and break down, and would love to hear your thoughts as well, guys, listen to this. But it just goes on and on and on, recommending that, again, this plant-based diet, again, with so-called experts, is going to help prevent 15 million early deaths a year in adults to tackle climate change, basically. So it's got an agenda, it's got a root, it's got a theme here, but they're recommending with this plant-rich, flexible diet that your diet, Mark, and my diet, and you guys listening, that fruits and vegetables, you should be eating at least 5 portions a day. Whole grains to 3 to 4 portions a day. Nuts to 1 portion per day. Beans, peas and lentils to 1 portion a day. Dairy, just 1 serving, mate. That's all you're allowed. No more raw milk. No more yogurt or cheese, because you're just limited to 1 portion a day, mate. Eggs, you're only allowed 3 to 4 of those a week because they're really bad for you because of cholesterol. Chicken, 2 portions a week. Fish, 2 portions a week. And red meat, you're only allowed 1 portion a week, dude. Marco Springman from UCL in the UK, and we did pull this up because he's a PhD. He really thinks that this diet should be, coming to light by next year. What are your thoughts, Mark? What do you think?
Oh dear, we should have started this at the beginning. Number 1, 40,000 deaths a day is an arbitrary number they've plucked out of the thin air, like they did with the 6-foot rule for COVID, which then came out to be absolute bullshit. So they can't predict that. There's no way of predicting that. They don't know that. So that's absolute cod shit, number 1. Number 2, climate change. Again, absolute bullshit. If you follow the world's leading climate guy on Twitter, or X, sorry, he is putting out there every single day research after research that shows that the carbon emission or the CO2 level of this planet is the lowest it has been in a very, very long time, to the point where the Arctic and the Antarctic is actually regrowing ice, not losing it. And the percentage of CO2 emissions that are in the atmosphere that come from humans is like 0.00016%. I've actually got it on my phone, actually, right? So I'm going to bring that up when I'm talking about this, if I can find it, because what they're talking about there is nonsense.
And the same with the cattle. Most of the carbon or methane that's emitted is sequestered into the ground.
Okay, here we go. So composition of the atmosphere. So here it is, right? You can see it there. Composition of the atmosphere. 78.08% is nitrogen, 20.94% is oxygen, argon is 0.93%, CO2 total is 0.04%, CO2 natural is 0.0384%, and CO2 from humans is 0.0016%. Right? So, as it says here, the green square at the top right is the total CO2 contained in the Earth's atmosphere, which is 0.04% of the total. 0.0384% is a natural CO2, and 0.016% is what is produced by the human activities, which is the white square. All of Europe contributes 16% of that little white quadrant, or 0.000256% of the total. There is the map, and in that far corner, right in that far corner, see that little white square?
Yep.
That's all of us. So if we zoom back out again, that little white square is right up in that corner. So, bullshit.
Yeah.
Next.
I'd like to see if they've got any financial ties with a lot of these companies that are pushing
or Bill Gates, either one.
Yeah, of course it
He,
is.
he owns all the companies, so it's probably him.
Yeah.
But we have to think, right? These experts, I'm going to use the guy who the PhD is on this paper because we researched him before we came on. I'm sorry, you don't look like a health expert. I tell you what, Mark Springman or whatever your name was, Marco, come to me. I'll do your bloods, fill out a 7-day diary of what you eat, and I'll tell you what's going wrong with you right now, or the probabilities of the dysfunction. And at that same time, I want a picture of you with just your pants on. I'm going to take a picture of me with just my pants on, and then we're going to ask the viewers who looks healthier. Right?
I agree,
I guarantee you, I look way fucking healthier than he does because I've seen a picture of him.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, his TED talk was about why meat diets are bad. So incentives dictate outcomes. I'll say it again. Incentives dictate outcomes. If you don't eat meat for a moral or religious reason, that is absolutely fine. There is no problem with that. You do you. But to use climate change as a reason not to eat meat is absolute nonsense.
I agree.
And to address this whole food carbon emission crap, okay, here's a simple one for you, scientists and PhDs. How about the UK only eats food from the UK? You stop importing it from Brazil and Argentina and Spain and Portugal and Greece and Germany and wherever else you get the bloody stuff from. Peru. Cheese should be from the UK. Meat should be from the UK. I can look at a seasonal food grid. Right? I did this a couple of months ago with cucumbers. I wanted a cucumber. It was in season. I go to M&S, go to their range of cucumbers. Spain. I go to Waitrose, Greece. Where is the UK cucumber? I'm sorry, but do we not grow them here? Would it not be better from a carbon footprint CO2 emission perspective to get all of our food from the UK and support our farmers who provide us with this bloody food?
No, of course not.
No, of course not. We've got to get it from Argentina.
No.
We've got to fly it all across the bloody world.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's meat's problem. It's the meat. It's the meat. It's the meat.
It's never about, it's always, let's be real, it's not about health. It's always about control. They call it this planetary health diet, but what they really do, guys, is you have to wake up to this, is they're pushing a very low protein, low nutrient diet, and it's going to tank your metabolism, it's going to fuck your hormones, and make you dependent on this synthetic fortified health food with your carbon credit system because you're way over buying red meat. They don't want it. They don't want farmers. They brought in inheritance tax for a reason. They don't want this to continue.
They don't want you buying fresh food. Sorry, Joe. They don't want you buying fresh food. They want you buying Snickers and Mars bars and biscuits, all these processed things which in a factory cause way more CO2 than a cow sat in a field.
Yeah.
They want you eating all that crap, these ready-made meals you can stick in your microwave because you can't be asked to make your own meal. Yeah. That's what all this. Sorry, I get very animated about this stuff. That's what all of this is. Yeah. Now, I'm going to add another controversy in here. This is also tied to the digital ID because if there is a digital ID, they have access because they link it to your bank account. They will stop you from buying more red meat than one bloody serving. Like when I watched the video of Parliament discussing it, 25 grams of red meat a week. 25 grams, that's a fork.
Yeah. 1
fork of red meat a week. But you can eat as many insects as you want.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Can't wait to have bug burgers.
And this is why we can't have digital ID, because they will, from a socialist, communist perspective, control everything that you do, from what you buy to how you use it. Sorry, Joe, but you already drove to work once this week. You can't drive now. Sorry, Joe, you had a shower twice this week. No more showers. Oh, no. You definitely can't buy more eggs. You can't have more cheese. You can't go out for a dinner because, you've already had your CO2 emissions allowance. It's crap.
Whilst they all fly around.
And have 7 homes.
7 homes. Yeah.
Right? It's nonsense. This is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Like, this is a bought out study. It's crap. I would love to see a lineup of all of these people that are the experts and say to them, right, unless you look like a Spartan and you can sprint without hurting yourself, and I can say to you, ready, set, go, and you don't have to warm up or anything like that, and you can bench and you can deadlift and you can squat and you can lift and you can run and you can play and tumble and fall and not break things, not get off the sofa going, oh, when you stand up. If you can look down and see your genitals without your belly being in the way, okay, cool, I might start listening to you. But if you're 30 and you're one of these PhDs and you look 50, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
You look nothing like a healthy individual. Why would I listen to you? Based off of what?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are slowly waking up. There's a lot of people that aren't awake. So people slowly come up that long slumber. I think a lot of people, you can tell a revolution, I hope, is coming with this, because I certainly, and hope you guys listen to this this episode today, will not be compliant to this.
And
But we'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear your feedback.
Please just remember, incentives dictate outcomes. There is a reason why this study has been put out there. There's backing behind this study, which is not from a unbiased position. That's the difference. We care about your health and your sovereign right as a human being to be able to choose what you want to do, as long as you're not harming others. If you don't want to eat meat, don't. If you do, do. Like, there's no, but just again, buy it locally. It just makes more sense. When you unpack it like that, it makes more sense. This study is bullshit. All
Amen.
Bullshit. And I call bullshit on all of it.
Amen, bro.
Sorry.
And
I'll get off my soapbox now. Sorry, it just
on that
winds me up, dude. Like, I don't like being told what I can and can't do with what food I eat.
yeah, I agree, dude. I agree.
I forgot to ask you your opinion. What's your opinion on it?
Well, mate, I'm fully behind you. I'm fully behind you. I support, local farmers. Get back into healing your relationship with food. I feel like a lot of us aren't, not healing that relationship, not getting in, back into where our food comes from, and buying products over real nourishing ingredients that supports your health, supports your energy, your vitality, your fertility, or whatever it is you want to do. 90-10, gosh, got Christmas coming up. I'm going to eat a mince pie. Mark's going to eat a mince pie, for goodness sake. But 90% of the time, if you're not, eating whole foods, then please wake the fuck up.
Yeah, that's true.
You want to heal both the human health and the planet. It starts with regenerative eating, seasonal food, grass-fed livestock, slow growing, reconnecting with nature and food. That's where it starts. Not synthetic crap that is pushed on us, guys.
Look, and please question things. Please don't. Just because it's on the news or it's in the media, doesn't mean it's true. Like, you've got to think what happened recently with the BBC and Trump and how they faked one of his interviews. Now he's suing them for like $1 billion. That's the BBC. All of these, other than, I think it's like GB News is the only independent news channel that there is in the UK. Outside of that, they're all bought, they're all paid for. They're all telling you, we have to remember, we're watching a program on a vision. They're telling you a vision based off their programming. They want you to think this way. They want you to be like, I don't know what to do until the government tells me. Yes, you do. Get your sovereign fucking rights back. You know what to do. You know exactly what to do. Right? Just don't doubt yourself. Like, actually start doing the research yourself. If it doesn't, what they say, like, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right? Whatever the government tells you, whatever the news tells you, think the opposite. That's a start. And then look into the research like we did for this study, where we saw the guy who's publishing it, his TED talk on meat being bad for you and all this stuff.
It's garbage. Absolute garbage.
It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It's coming from an agenda. Everyone's got an agenda. The only agenda that we have here is we want to give you back your sovereignty. We want to give you back the power, because there's more of us than there are of them.
Amen.
Simple as that.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Mic drop.
I'm intrigued to see what comments.
We'll be back for more juicy bits. And
would have triggered some people, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, good, because it's healthy. The discussion that is healthy is good. Debating is good. This is where we
remember all opinions are welcome. We don't need to be rude. We don't need to be calling people names or whatever. Everybody's opinion matters. Everybody's thought process matters. I'm not saying I'm right. Joe's not saying he's right. We're not saying you're wrong. You're not saying you're right. It's just an opinion. Back in the day, we used to be able to have opinions without people getting triggered
Or offended.
or offended. I'm not offending you. I don't know you, Susan from Arkansas. I don't know who you are. Sorry, Susan. I'm just picking up a random name in a random place. But like, I'm not deliberately focusing on your belief system. I'm just saying, like, critically think, ask the questions. Is this true? There are so many things that we don't ask about that. Like, we don't even get to choose our own bloody names. There are so many things that we don't stop to think, is this true? I was having this conversation, just quickly before we go. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, which they were like, I was like, do you remember old wives' tales? And I was like, yeah. I was like, they say, oh no, don't open an umbrella up indoors because it's bad luck. Says who? No one ever questions it, but no one opens an umbrella indoors. Nobody puts their shoes on the table because it's bad luck. Says who?
Yeah.
Who?
I accidentally opened up an umbrella the other day, Mark.
God, Joe, be careful, mate. Wives' tales.
I've had a very blessed week, though. So,
right?
there you go.
Question it, man. Come on.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Is it true?
I've had a really good week.
Stats, you're going against the grain there, brother.
Anyway, guys, lots of love, and please like, share,
hype
podcast.
Hype it as well, because that's a new thing for small channels now. Give us a hype.
Yeah, give us a hype on YouTube, Spotify, and all other mediums. Lots of love, guys. Stay optimized.
Stay blessed.
Stay well, and we'll see you soon in the next episode.
Peace.